As the standard of the Xi'an Grand Prix was incredibly high, there are even more contenders for shot at the championships than we'd usually see. But not to worry, this video is still going to work out which of these shots is best by recreating them as accurately as possible and then playing them in the fewest possible attempts. But who better to start with than current world champion Kyren Wilson, who defeated Judd, Ronnie O'Sullivan and came back from 4-2 down against Jimmy Robertson in this tournament to take the title. And this long pot under pressure against Judd not only got him out of trouble, but eventually allowed him to level the match up at 7 frames all, a position from which he'd only lose one more frame on the way to winning the tournament. As you can see from my first attempt, hitting this shot straight enough with enough power really isn't easy. I wouldn't have wanted to have to take this one on in a game, but I think Kyren was forced into it and I can't see another shot. I keep getting further and further away from this one for some reason, and I'm not sure if I'm ever actually going to pot it. I've got it in the end. I think I made it a lot harder than it actually is though, but at least I managed to play the shot fairly accurately. Alright, I got there in the end with that one, although I think it took a few too many goes, so I'm going to attempt a similar Judd Trump one now and see if I'm cueing any better. Judd had no other option but to take this on, so even if I didn't like this when I came across it in a game, I'd be forced into playing it, but the fact you only have to come back as far as the blue spot might make it easier. Well, that's good. It looks like the practice from the previous shot paid off. Judd went on to win this frame and the semi-final by 6 frames to 1. Despite going 5-1 down to Kyren Wilson, Ronnie O'Sullivan began to make a comeback and got it back to 5-3 with this tough pot on the pink, which he needed to stay in the frame. Not only does he pot this, he gets the cue ball on the yellow and would eventually go on to win the frame on a respot. Well, I've got it, but I really didn't like it. I don't think I would have been brave enough to play this shot in a game, but at the same time, I don't think there are any other options. 5-4, however, was as far as Ronnie would get, as Kyren screamed in this long red in the next frame, screwing the cue ball back for the blue. This is a powerful shot that I don't think I'd normally have the ability to play in the game, so I'd probably end up having to just try to pot the red and then play safe. However, I'm getting a lot closer with this one than expected, and with the help of the magic cue ball, I'm able to screw back far enough to get on the blue. However, the shot isn't quite the same as the one Kyren played, so I'm going to have a few more goes here to see if I can get the white in the correct position, which was just to the left of the first red. But I'm now beginning to regret that decision not to take my third attempt, because it was actually better than the shot Kyren played, and I keep missing these now. Not only have I got to find the right angle again, but I've got to pot the red so precisely that I get the cue ball back in position on the blue, just to the left of where it is now. On this shot, I've actually landed in between the two balls and I've cannoned the right red, so I'm just going to take this if I can pot the blue between the gap. Thankfully, it's gone in and we can move on to the next one. On to Mark Allen now, who's another player attempting a shot I wouldn't even consider playing in a game of snooker. I'm not sure what I'd do here. Mark, however, pots the red and screws the cue ball all the way back into bulk. And despite getting the snooker, he doesn't end up winning the frame, although he does take the match and advances to the next round. I've got this one a lot quicker than expected, but unfortunately I can't screw it back any further than that. This next one's a bit of a stretch for Junhui, as he's tried to power the reds open but hasn't quite finished in position on the black. Having to stretch at it a little bit, he still manages to pot this and then go on to get the long red after it. You've got to go for the cut here because there's not much else you can do, and I was surprised just how tall Ding is because I could only just reach this. I got it on my first attempt, lost the cue ball a little bit, but it's not too bad. Dave Gilbert's in a little bit of trouble against Judd Trump now and manages to pot his way out of it with a well-controlled shot. Despite this, he narrowly loses the first frame and then eventually the match 5 frames to 2. With the amount you have to dig down at the cue ball here, I think if I was playing this shot I'd have taken on another red and tried to got the cue ball safe. I might have left the red over the middle pocket though, and that's why Dave played it. I'm a bit surprised I've got it after 4 attempts, that's actually pretty good. Now, this Mark Selby shot is a little bit ridiculous because it looks like he can just simply cut the black in. Obviously he can't, that's why he's playing it off the bolt cushion. I don't know if I'd even have the confidence to attempt this, but at the same time I don't know what else he could have done. With a shot like this, it's just a case of not putting any unintentional side spin on the cue ball. Thankfully I haven't, and I've got it first time. Another player potting their way out of trouble is Clarke with this red down the cushion. Not only does he get it, but he goes on to win the frame and the match 5 frames to 0. I've just noticed I may have the cue ball slightly too far over here, as I think the reason Jamie was playing this shot is he couldn't see anything down the yellow side of the table, and I can just scrape a thin edge and play a simple safety shot. However, I've got to play this shot if I want to get it right with a lot of side spin, and that's why I'm struggling to line it up properly, but I'm slowly getting closer as I get used to the side spin. It's gone in and I just haven't quite gone back far enough. Over to Barry Hawkins now, with definitely the best snooker escape of the tournament. Mark Allen must have been sure he'd get the penalty points he needed here, but Barry managed to hit the red, keep his lead in the frame, and then eventually go on to win it. This is obviously a really tough hit. Even knowing which way you need to play the shot, it's still not easy to get anywhere near it. I've somehow potted it here, but I'm looking to play it in the same way Barry did. And the shot made a big difference. Had he missed it, he could have lost the match, and he only won it by 5 frames to 3. I don't think I would even have seen this angle had I had to work it out for myself, and I would have ended up playing the shot off the jaws and getting it to go towards the red that way. I think that would have been my best effort. I wouldn't have thought this would even work, although I'm getting a lot closer now. I've been bouncing it into the first cushion, which has been making it harder, and I finally hit it flat enough that allowed me to hit the red. How about this for a double from Judd Trump now? Personally, I think I'd have a go at the cut, but this definitely worked and allowed him to make a 63 break, comfortably winning him the frame, and eventually go on to take the semi-final by 6 frames to 1 against Daniel Wells. Annoyingly, I got the treble on my first attempt, but let's see if we can get the double and get the cue ball back to the right place. It's a little bit out, but it still leaves the cut. And against that, we got Ronnie O'Sullivan playing this double on a respotted black left-handed. Annoyingly, I didn't notice until now he put his hand up to apologise, but let's ignore that and see if I can actually play the shot myself. This appears to be an awkward one to find the angle, and you need to stun the cue ball towards the top cushion whilst avoiding the double kiss, and there's not a huge amount of room to do so. I think Ronnie was attempting to play this around 4 cushions to leave it in the middle of the bolt cushion. The shot I would have probably tried myself. But the real question is now, which of these doubles was the cheekiest? Judd's shot's good, but it's just an exhibition shot, so he only gets 2. Whereas Ronnie's shot, despite being a fluke, is more significant, so it gets him 4, and it's this week's winner. Not only is this a clever snooker from Kyren Wilson, it's a really well played one as he gets the cue ball round the angles and back in behind the blue. I'm not sure I would even have thought of this and probably have just clipped off the brown and left a pot because the white would have been on the bulk cushion and the brown in the middle of the table. This was a great shot, definitely won him the frame and a big contributor to winning him the final. Fortunately now I can see how to play the shot, but that's not exactly making it any easier at the moment. I've got to get the line of the cue ball and the weight absolutely perfect, and that involves getting a little bit further away from the corner pocket than I keep playing these shots. The white's going too close here and I need a wider angle to get it in tight behind the blue. In my opinion, this is going to take some beating for the best shot of the tournament, as it made such a big difference in the game, as Kyren would go on to win the frame from here and level up at 7 frames all, and it's such a difficult shot to get right. I've been trying for quite a few tries now, and I still haven't managed to get the snooker. That was just a little way out. I'm going to have to get a little bit closer, but this looks better. Can I just get this in behind the blue? It's not tight, but I've definitely got the snooker, so that's not bad. Ronnie O'Sullivan looks like he's completely snookered on this next shot, but despite that still manages to pot this red down the cushion. He then narrowly goes on to win this frame against Hossein Vafai before taking the match 5 frames to 0. This could have been very different had he not have potted this red. I think I would have been forced into playing the same shot as Ronnie here because you can't see the inside of the red, but judging from my first attempt it wouldn't have gone very well. Somehow I've managed to pot it though on my 4th, which was really unexpected, and the cue ball's pretty good as well. 8 frames all in the final, and this one's probably another fluke, but I wanted to see if I could get it. Judd Trumps failed to clear up and has snookered Kyren Wilson, but Kyren's managed to pot the red off the cushion, knocking it in off the pink. This is definitely possible, and it would have been in Kyren's mind, but can I make it work? Well, possibly. I wouldn't have been thinking about the pot with this one, but getting distance between the balls and hitting it hard would definitely have been a priority. That's a bit unlucky going in off there, because the red went in the middle of the pocket, so let's see if I can get it again and hit the red a little bit thicker. That's pretty good. The white didn't go anywhere near the correct position, but I didn't have a lot of control over that. Dave Gilbert doesn't win this frame, but this is an excellent try. He pots this long red and stuns the cue ball over for the black, which he would eventually need to make the clearance and win the frame, and he manages to clear the table to the last yellow despite the balls being in a really awkward position. After this, however, he does go on to lose it, but this is an excellent shot that I wouldn't have even thought of playing. I think I would have just played for the pink on this shot and somehow tried to develop the black on a safety shot later on. Probably wouldn't have worked though, and Dave's option was a lot better. I just would never have thought of playing something this attacking. And I've got it a little bit quicker than I thought I would, finishing in position on the black. We've got another Ronnie O'Sullivan shot right after we find Thomas, who's in Petel, Sweden, which is there, and I've pronounced terribly. This is where Ronnie's 4-1 down against Kyren Wilson in the semi-final, but he still manages to pick out this long red. Despite this, however, he misses the next pot and lets Kyren Wilson win the frame. It's not until after that that the comeback really starts. I think if I had to play this shot, I'd try to leave the cue ball near the top cushion and possibly on the black, although I'm not quite sure how easily that would go, and it might leave a pot for Kyren, so it might have been the safer shot to get the cue ball back down the table like this. I've still got it fairly quickly though, which is good. Jimmy Robertson was getting close to Kyren Wilson in the 4th round before Kyren found this cut into the middle pocket. I'm not sure if I would have seen this myself, but it's the kind of shot I like, so I'm interested to see if I'm going to be able to get it. I think I'd be more likely to play safe off the red that's furthest down the table, but Kyren would have seen this as a shot to nothing and a free go at a pot, so this is probably why he took it on, and who can argue with him, he got it. I've got it in 2 attempts, which I'm pretty happy with. There we go, and don't forget you can vote for the best shot using the link in the description, and I'll announce the winner in about a week's time. Which reminds me, I don't think I've done the last one yet. I'll get to that, but if you want to see that video or other recreations from other tournaments, then have a look at these 2. And remember, don't just watch, play, and make the commitment to becoming a better player by subscribing to the channel and visit the website. See you later!